let's dive into this. We're going to talk about one of the most sought-after credentials in the entire financial world, a license from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the MAS. So what's the big deal? Well, it's famous for being incredibly hard to get, and that difficulty, that's exactly what makes it so valuable.
And this right here, this is really the heart of it all. The sheer toughness of the process sends this massive signal across the globe. When a firm actually gets this license, it's not just some piece of paper, it's a statement. But what is it actually saying?
So that's what we're going to unpack. We're breaking down exactly why that signal is so incredibly powerful, and, maybe more importantly, how firms that just got licensed can turn up the volume on that signal to build rock-solid trust with the partners who really matter. We're talking about the big banks and payment providers.
All right, so first, let's tackle a really common and super costly mistake. We're going to call it the licensing illusion. It's this misunderstanding that can literally stop a company's growth in its tracks right after they've had their biggest win.
This is the illusion in a nutshell. I mean, think about it. After months, sometimes even years of grinding, it is so easy to feel like getting that license is the finish line. You proved yourself to the regulator, so the hard part's got to be over, right? Well, not so fast. And this is where we see a huge disconnect. The broker's thinking, yes, we did it, we're trusted now. But over at the bank, they're looking at it completely differently. For them, that license is just the bare minimum requirement to even get in the door. Their real work, their own due diligence and risk checks, that's all just getting started.
So you get the picture, right? The license itself does not automatically equal trust. No way. Banks, payment providers, they aren't just going to take the regulator's word for it. They do their own homework. They need to check out the public perception of the company that's holding the license.
Okay, so if the license isn't the final stamp of trust, what makes it so darn valuable? Let's get into the mechanics of what we're calling the Singapore signal, and really understand why its difficulty is actually its greatest strength. Its value is really built on three core pillars. First, you've got these incredibly strict compliance rules that demand you're operating at the highest level. Second, there are high capital requirements, which means only serious, well-funded players can even get in the game. And third, there's constant ongoing monitoring. This is not a one-and-done kind of deal. And that's really the whole point. The MAS ecosystem is built to be selective, and that's on purpose. It's not supposed to be an open door for everyone. It's designed to be a filter, to weed out any firms that just aren't ready for the absolute highest standards.
And this all boils down to a super simple but really powerful idea. The difficulty of getting in translates directly into credibility. But here's the thing. That signal isn't just for attracting traders. It's a massive signal aimed squarely at global institutional partners who have to know, without a doubt, that they're working with a legitimate, stable, and compliant firm.
Okay, so a firm has made it through the filter. They've earned this incredible credibility signal, but this is the turning point where so many just completely stumble. They create what we call a visibility void.
The answer is actually pretty shocking in its simplicity, but it completely undermines all the hard work they've just done. They get the license, and then they just go quiet.
And in the world of institutional risk analysis, this is basically gospel. Imagine a bank's compliance team does a search for your company and finds, well, nothing. No news, no interviews, no story. They don't just assume you're busy working hard behind the scenes. Nope. They assume you're a risk. When you go silent, you create that visibility void. And what that tells your potential partners is that, yeah, you met the standard once, but you haven't built any kind of public reputation to back it up since. Silence doesn't build trust, it actually kills it. So, how do you fix this? The solution is to get out there and actively build what you could call your digital proof. And this is where public relations stops being just a marketing thing and becomes a critical tool for, believe it or not, financial risk mitigation.
A digital trust signal is pretty much what it sounds like. It's that external, verifiable proof that backs up your license. When a bank's risk officer finds articles, interviews, and features about your company in well-respected financial news, what they're seeing is third-party validation. You're not just saying you're credible, other people are saying it too.
And look at the real-world impact here. It's night and day. Before you have a PR strategy, getting a bank on board can be this long, painful process. But afterward, it's way smoother, way faster. Your risk profile with payment providers goes from high or unknown to reduced and verified. And the trust you need from every partner, it builds so much faster. It just opens doors. And that's why we really have to change how we think about this. Strategic PR, in this context,
It's not about running flashy ads or just general brand awareness. It is about systematically, piece by piece, building a public record that proves you're legit. It's all about validation.
So let's pull this all together. The real journey isn't just from being unlicensed to licensed. The real journey is from being licensed to being seen as truly legitimate by the entire global financial community. It's about closing that gap between the paper you hold and the perception people have of you.
The brokers who really get this, the smartest ones, they actively work on these three things. They make sure they are visible in the industry, that they are searchable for any partner doing their homework, and that they are recognized by trusted media as a credible voice.
At the end of the day, you have to see this for what it is. Building this perception is a core business strategy. It's a long-term asset. An ad campaign runs and then it's over. But a strong public reputation, that grows and compounds over time, making every future partnership, every new deal, just that much easier.
Which leaves us with one final question for any firm that has gone through all that pain to get a top-tier license. Is your license just a framed document on the wall, or have you actually turned it into what it was always meant to be? A powerful, undeniable global trust signal. The difference is everything.